Welcome to the new year, and I think it's safe to say it's going to be unlike any other in our lifetime. What is going on? Is America under attack? Who orchestrated it? And what does it mean for Bitcoin? And while Mr. Mercedes and Gotham City move from fiction to reality, it's time to switch those laser eyes out of stun mode and get locked in. Full focus will be needed because all this means we may be in the end days of fiat. Massive interventions and money printing that will make your eyes bleed are on the way. And despite all of it, we may be well on our way towards the most bullish outcome for Bitcoin in 2025. And I want you to think of this sentence before we dive in today. It's a lyric, but it spawned the whole basis for today's show after yesterday's horrific events. Think about this for a second before we send it. They are buying fear to feed their dealers. Bitcoin is bouncing back, bonds are rattling, and fiat's reckoning is upon us. I'm Rustin, and we have a massive show today. The signal, off the charts. Steady, lads, and strap in, because it's time to send it!
Canvas requested in regards to a multiple shooting for the 103 precinct.
Weapons and potential improvised explosive devices, IEDs, were located in the subject's vehicle. Other potential IEDs were also located in the French Quarter. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
That source also revealed what was inside the truck, explosives that included fireworks, gas tanks, and camping fuel, and authorities believe that that was connected to a detonation system controlled by the driver.
First off, what is going on? I don't know if you guys have ever checked out Sean Ryan, but let's go ahead and introduce him real quick.
I think we're in the middle of a war right now. I think the fentanyl thing is part of the war. Buying our politicians out is part of the war. TikTok and propaganda thing that's going on is part of the war. Disinformation thing is part of the war. All the bots that are interacting with social media outlets, it fires the population up. It divides us.
The dude is a former Navy SEAL. And we have a clip from an older episode with a former CIA officer. And in it, they lay out what was coming, what took place yesterday, and what is likely to come. Let's check it out.
I just want to clarify, there are 1,000 plus Al-Qaeda trained fighters within the United States borders.
Al-Qaeda says they trained and deployed 1,000 for this attack. First off, I think there's more than 1,000 Al-Qaeda members in the United States. But for the Homeland attack, that number is based on what Al-Qaeda is saying, so they could exaggerate it. However, they did have about 1,400 in the Hamas attack, so the number is not off from what they did in the first round of attacks.
Are we next, or is Europe next?
I think the embassy attacks are next, in my opinion.
Now remember that lyric in the intro. They're buying fear to feed their dealers. It stuck in my head, and after yesterday, I couldn't help but interpret it as a critique, suggesting the media and political entities, they exploit the public's fear for profit or power. Essentially, they create a cycle where fear is both the product and the currency in a manipulative system, the fiat system. When you get to the roots of the fiat system and its existence today, what actually backs it? Fear. And they use the money printer to spread it like a plague. If you study history and the effects of bad economics on society, it's horrific. And it's happening now. The mental health crisis we face today stems from fiat money. Go study the Great Depression and you will see the meaning of depression. The long-term effects of this on society, the continuous exposure to fear, can result in a culture of fear where the populace becomes more anxious, less trusting, and more dependent on government or authoritative figures for protection, ultimately leading to a decline in democratic values. Think about the psychological impact. The chronic exposure to fear can lead to stress, anxiety, and a sense of helplessness among individuals. That alters their political behavior, it reduces civic engagement, and it ultimately leads to increasing support for policies perceived as protective. Now it's time to get ready and be very vigilant. I'm old enough to remember the Patriot Act. Politicians and the state-run media often use fear to mobilize voters. Not only that, but political and media entities are incentivized to exploit fear. Think about it. Fear sells. It drives viewership, readership, and engagement. Media outlets that stoke fear can increase their audience, thereby attracting more advertising revenue or subscription fees. Politicians using fear, they can rally support, potentially leading to more campaign contributions, votes, and political power, which translates into financial benefits through various channels like lobbying or policy influence. And by manipulating fear, political figures can maintain or gain control over public opinion and voter behavior. And this control can lead to legislative advantages or the perpetuation of political careers. Hence, Congress full of geriatrics. And all of it indirectly or directly contributes to financial and power incentives. Remember, their fearful content leads to higher ratings or engagement. Media companies, especially in the digital age where clicks and views are currency, have a direct financial incentive to produce content that keeps audiences in a perpetual state of fear. And the money printer fuels all of it. Think about it. With the ability to print money, governments can fund excessive propaganda or information campaigns that might not be economically viable under normal fiscal constraints or sound money. Campaign financing, the influx of money into the economy through quantitative easing, leads to more liquid capital for political campaigns. This results in increased spending on advertising that exploits fear, because there's more money to be spent on media that can amplify fear-based messaging. By controlling the money supply, governments or central banks can influence economic conditions in ways that might be perceived as crises or threats, providing a backdrop for fear-based political rhetoric. And this is what they use to justify certain policies or to distract us from other issues. Fear, media, politics, and the economic power of the money printer, it creates a system where fear is not only a tool for immediate gain, but it's also a means to sustain or expand control over economic and political landscapes. However, this also raises concerns about the erosion of public trust, which currently sits at an all-time low because the people are beginning to see through the bullshit. And while fiat sells fear, death, and despair, Bitcoin is the antithesis to all this, and the world is waking up. Now, we're about to see what this could all mean for Bitcoin in 2025 and beyond. But before we bring it home today, look at our likes!
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp while we take a moment to recognize our sponsors, because guys, even with all this, we're about to tell you why we could be looking at seven-figure Bitcoin in 2025, and what that means is you need to get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into self-custody. Not your keys, not your coins. If you're looking to learn how to take self-custody and secure your generational wealth, you're going to want to check out the masters of Bitcoin sovereignty, the Bitcoin way. Guys, being that we live in clown world, it's pretty easy to understand the why Bitcoin, but over at the Bitcoin way, that's where you're going to learn how to Bitcoin. Check out their newly revamped website. If you're looking to become a master of Bitcoin self-custody, no one makes it easier. From setting up your first wallet node to inheritance planning to everything Bitcoin sovereignty, they got you covered. Hey, and if you're looking to get started, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the Bitcoin way using that link in the show notes. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. We have a historic Bitcoin trend, and it's pointing north, and it's lining up perfectly with past cycles and the influx of strategic Bitcoin reserves that could be on the way in 2025. We do not want to be on the wrong side of history on this one. In just 1 year, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF surges to nearly double the value of its gold ETF that launched in 2005. Pay attention. While the fearmongers and fiat maximalists spread their filth and reap destruction, printing themselves into oblivion, the fiat system is on life support. They think they've trapped us, but they've only trapped themselves. This is why SBRs are coming. We are approaching the endgame. What's coming next? Well, let's go ahead and check in with Samson Mao, who said this during Michael Saylor's New Year's Eve party at Miami Beach. Roll it!
Speaking of, politicians and everything, do you think Trump would keep his promise of reaching, and having a Bitcoin reserve?
I think so. It's really that they have no choice. They have to create the Bitcoin reserve. They need to buy Bitcoin simply because they need to shore up the US dollar and strengthen it. And I think they view it more as a measure to boost the dollar, but ultimately I think it ends up killing the dollar, and you enter the hyper-Bitcoinization phase.
Listen, the US making this move will force the hand of every nation who wishes to stay relevant. And if this is indeed coming in 2025, VanEck CEO sees not $1 million Bitcoin, but Bitcoin melting face and rocketing to 2.9 million cuckbucks.
about a year ago, started pounding the table because eventually the Fed is going to start easing here. That's great for gold and that's for Bitcoin. What I said is Bitcoin is growing up and will be eventually half the total market cap of gold. So that's about 350,000. So quite a ways to go from here. If central banks adopt it and, it's part of the monetary system, then in the millions, but I don't like to talk about that too much.
What, more than 2 million? More than 3?
Yeah, like 2.9, we've got some model, which is, you have to look at the assumptions.
Right.
The mother of all Bitcoin supply shocks is coming soon. Got Bitcoin? Better yet, are you mining Bitcoin? Whether you are or not, you don't want to miss this. It's the biggest Bitcoin mining conference on the planet, and it's coming to Fort Lauderdale, March 25th through the 27th. Get your tickets today and join thousands of Bitcoin mining professionals and enthusiasts from around the globe for an electrifying experience at Mining Disrupt. See the latest cutting-edge hardware, products, and services that are revolutionizing the Bitcoin mining industry. And for over half a decade, Mining Disrupt has been the premier conference exclusively dedicated to Bitcoin mining. Be part of the future and join the revolution that's reshaping the world of Bitcoin mining. Don't miss out. Head over to miningdisrupt.com and get your tickets today. Use promo code SimplyBitcoin for 20% off. The Simply Bitcoin news desk will be on site, and I'll be holding it down with Nico and Opti, and we hope to see you there. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a pamp by spreading the Sound Money Gospel. I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas and New Year's with the family. Be the light in the darkness, my friends, and we will drown out the fear with love, hope, and success. Hey, I love you guys. Catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.